we were asking suppliers, did they know that there was this digital nomad movement and full-time travelers, professionals traveling the world, and that there's a market there. And there was a few tilts of the head there as well. But after COVID, they were calling us and saying, oh, now I know what you're talking about.
It seems everyone wants to be a digital nomad these days. And who can blame them? The freedom to pitch up in paradise, flip open that MacBook, and earn a living on the other side of the world sounds like a dream come true. But are our stereotypes of the typical digital nomad seriously outdated? Has there been a major shift in demographics brought on by the pandemic? And if so, will this digital nomad 2.0 present fresh opportunities for the travel industry? You're listening to Battleface Uncharted, a podcast brought to you by Battleface Travel Insurance. We speak to some of the travel industry's leading figures to discover the trends that you need to know about. You know the stereotype, right? A 23-year-old software developer reclining in a hammock in Costa Rica, writing code between sessions out on the waves. Or the recent graduate pulling a late one at a hostel or picking up commissions in the gig economy. There's just one problem. They're both seriously outdated. The shift towards location independence brought about by the pandemic introduced a whole new cohort to the world of digital nomadism. Often older, more established in their careers, with different expectations of living standards, safety, and infrastructure. National governments have started getting in on the act too. The legal grey area that many nomads had existed in, working on tourist visas and doing border runs every couple of months, has started to give way to something a little more regulated. Dozens of countries now offer a digital nomad visa, with benefits such as no tax on foreign earned income, or even the ability to bring family over with you. It seems the digital nomad dollar is in high demand. Few know this more than today's guest, co-founder of Nomad Stays, Linda McCall. Nomad Stays offers affordable stays in more than 50 countries, ranging from Brazil to Botswana, and including digital nomad favourites such as Thailand, Georgia, Colombia, and Portugal. But first off, what is Digital Nomad 2.0?
That's a good question, because I don't think there is a character. There's not one type of digital nomad. I did an article recently about it, because as we travel the world, and last year we did 14 countries, and that was just after we got let loose from COVID. What we discovered, and what we're seeing more and more of, is that the digital nomad is more of a professional that has had a career, and they're able to easily take their job on the road, like devs, developers, and people who, marketing, all of the people who work online anyway. But there's, nomad families, and there's quite a few nomad families actually, and there's people who don't even identify with that they are a digital nomad. They use the tools of a computer on the road, but they don't identify with the term digital nomad, because of what media has shown us about the 21-year-old sitting on the beach kind of thing. And so I think that there's been a misrepresentation of the digital nomad, and like I'm 52 and my partner's 58. So we're seeing a lot more of the 35 to 60-year-olds and more, traveling the world, just doing their thing.
So, as that demographic has shifted slightly, are you also seeing a shift in how digital nomads travel? Are they staying in single locations for longer? Are they more likely to seek out accommodation that matches what they would get back home?
Yeah, definitely. I think although the demographic has changed, I wouldn't say it's more, I'd say it's a psychographic and a demographic, because it's people, it's more of the explorers type of personality, somebody who wants to go and explore the world, and curious about everything, usually an entrepreneur or somebody who's a freelancer, would be doing that. And they do seek out a home style, but more they're more interested in the location, and what it has to offer. So the adventure playground in the background, in you know, that they're situated in. For us, at the moment, we're in the French Alps, and you know, going hiking in the French Alps is just incredible. You sometimes have to, you know, shake your head and go, oh gosh, is this for real?
Of course, yeah. You know, when we think of digital nomads, certainly in the past, we think of them as perhaps existing in a bit of a legal gray area, perhaps using tourist visas and doing border runs every, you know, couple of months. What impact do you think the growing adoption of specific digital nomad visas will have on the movement, if you can call it that?
Well, there's a bit of controversy around the visas at the moment, because there's digital nomad visas. Sure, there's a lot of them popping up around the world, but not a lot of them are very useful to people who are full-time travelers. So your question before about, you know, do people stay longer? Yes, they stay longer, because they are able to have, you know, they will take up a type of visa like we did, the French tech visa, to allow us to travel and to allow us to do our work in France and in Europe. So I think that the visas, certainly for us as Australians, have been very useful, because strangely, the Australian government didn't take care of their 500,000 people that were still overseas in COVID and didn't do any agreements with border crossings. So we were only able to travel because of the French residency and having that residency card. Otherwise, we would have been stuck in France, because nobody knew what was happening at the borders. When we went to Serbia, they were like, what are you doing here? Like, and then we showed our residency card in France, and they went, oh, okay, that's okay. But that we confused them with the Australian passport. So with the visas, some would say it's a tax grab. Others would say they've never used one. Some people would, you know, they say that they're digital nomad visas, but it just allows you to stay for longer. So if they suit the digital nomad to stay for an extra 6 months or a year, or in Thailand, I think they've got a 5-year one coming up. If that allows them more time, then they might take up the visa. So for us, we have another 2 years to run on our visa. But it took 2 years just to get the visa started. So sometimes what they're offering in the visas isn't really what you experience at the other end. And, you know, there's visas in Portugal, there's visas in all over the world that you can take up to suit your criteria for freelancers or, you know, tech. It depends on what the country's trying to attract, as you know. So it's a very difficult answer. It's a very difficult one answer, because there isn't one. But there's opportunity through the visas to allow people to stay longer. And as we discussed before, people are staying longer. They're slow traveling rather than bouncing around the world at a high rate. So they would stay generally 1 week to 1 month, and often they'll stay, if they can, for 3 months or more.
I mean, obviously at Nomad Stays, you know, you're providing a service. You're looking at a gap in the market for people who are specifically seeking out this type of accommodation. What other opportunities do you think exist within the travel space to cater to these new digital nomads?
You know, obviously insurance is definitely one of those areas, but and innovation around that that type of traveler, because like I said before, these I call them the new nomad. The new nomad it comes in all shapes and sizes, and you know, some of them are just just full-on adventure travelers, like and they travel on motorcycles and travel with, you know, for us, we travel with our car and our dog and our dog. we travel with our dog, so we have to drive a car as well, just to you know, escort him everywhere. But we travel with a motorcycle as well. So I think that there's an opportunity for governments to recognise that digital nomads can bring in a lot of money. You know, for us, we spend a lot of money every month in each region that we go to, and it's money that goes to the people in the area that we choose to stay. So I think innovation around finding a better product, a more affordable product, to make it easy for people to travel and share the wealth, basically. So for us, you know, we have to have insurance. We have to have health insurance. We have to have there's the bureaucracy in every country is very difficult. So making that bureaucracy a little bit easier for us to navigate would be great.
Absolutely. I think, you know, we're all aware of kind of, you know, a lot of these digital nomad hubs, whether it's, you know, Ubud in Bali or Chiang Mai in Thailand, or, you know, maybe Lisbon. Where are the kind of up and coming places then? You know, where do you think will become a digital nomad hub in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Where should we watch out for?
Oh, look, they're popping up all over the place. One of the places that we go to every year is Bansko, Bulgaria. We got Plovdiv in Bulgaria. That's an up and coming, you know, it's been around for a while. Greece is another place. Some of the areas in Greece, Cyprus is very much into the Bitcoin and any sort of online trading kind of areas. Portugal is another one. Madeira Island is a great space. There's lots of you know, communities there that you can engage in. I tend to think that definitely the Balkans are probably one of our favorite places. Croatia is a very big one. Montenegro is another one. We're about to go to a digital nomad fest in Albania, which is happening in in Tirana on the 14th and the 15th of September. So that's another place, up and coming place that's affordable. And yeah, so Croatia was kind of the leader in that space with the digital nomad visas as well. And so everybody after COVID jumped on, or during as well, COVID jumped on the digital nomad visas. So there's a lot of the islands as well have a great opportunity for digital nomads as well. You know, the Azores and So there's lots of little pockets of digital nomad areas. I would say wherever there's co-working spaces and a number of them, like Banksco, there you have a lot of choice, and there's a lot of digital nomads going there. So it's been growing for the last 5 years that we know of, and attracting a lot of digital nomads for sure. But it's places that we've been to that we didn't expect. And a lot of them, the beautiful thing is a lot of them are off the beaten track, and that's what I love about them, because people go for the adventure around the area, so skiing and mountain biking and climbing and hiking and that kind of thing. So anywhere, I would love the French Alps to be part of that. I think they're trying to do something around bringing innovation into these villages around there, but we'll see what happens.
You've been listening to Battleface Uncharted, brought to you by Battleface Travel Insurance.